Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Reset. I am your host, Mr. Andre Clay. And on tonight's show, Hijacking Juneteenth, Why We Must Control Our Narratives. Again, Hijacking Juneteenth, Why We Must Control Our Narratives. Tonight's show will be a special call-in show. That number will be 708-414-0849. Again, that's 708-414-0849. And with that, let us begin. Over the past weekend, ladies and gentlemen, the nation took part in Juneteenth celebrations in nearly every state or city or locality commemorating the end of chattel slavery in the U.S. Parades, festivities, cookouts, ceremonies, they all took place even on up until today here in Chicago in remembrance of freedom and liberty for Black Americans. But prior to this weekend, family, capitalism had already made plans to commercialize and profit off of our legacy. Reports of big chain stores and others gearing up to sell Juneteenth merchandise had gone viral across the internet. This continued exploitation of Black Americans must stop. And we owe it to ourselves and our ancestors to take control of our narratives. So tonight, family, we start that by exposing those who seek to hustle in our healing. And we begin that by sharing a little bit of history about what Juneteenth is and what it's meant to be. And taken from the Facebook Know Your Rights Camp Facebook page, Juneteenth, also known as Jubilee Day, Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, or Black Independence Day, is a reference to June 19th, 1865, the day that enslaved Black people in Texas were told by U.S. Major General Gordon Granger that legalized slavery had ended in their state. Though the holiday started in the lone state, it is now widely celebrated across the country. In part, the proclamation Granger recited on June 19, 1865 in Galveston read, "The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property," otherwise called General Order Number 3. Granger's order was based on the Emancipation Proclamation that President Lincoln, who had been assassinated 2 months earlier, had issued on January 1st, 1863. Juneteenth is widely celebrated in and by Black communities and their allies across the United States. It's a time of joy, unity, family, and remembrance. Last year, President Biden officially made Juneteenth a federal holiday. It's now known as Juneteenth National Independence Day. And just to add a little bit of fact that I discovered in researching about Juneteenth, although President Joe Biden signed into law Juneteenth in 2021, lady by the name of Opal Lee, 95, known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, helped make Juneteenth a national holiday. Most of us did not know that. Now, Opal Lee has worked for the last 5 years campaigning to make it a national holiday. She grew up in Marshall, Texas, where she described the annual Juneteenth celebrations as feeling like Christmas, featuring games, music, speeches, and food. But a white mob burned down her family's home in Fort Worth, forcing them to flee. The parties in Fort Worth were mostly family affairs until she helped organize one of the first major celebrations in the city, a 3-day event, which drew more than 10,000 people back in the 1970s. Texas subsequently became the first state to recognize Juneteenth as a state holiday in 1980. And 6 years ago, Opal Lee decided to make a walk from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington to put the holiday into the national spotlight. Although her campaign did not receive much attention from former presidents Barack Obama and Trump, Biden did following the nationwide protests of George Floyd. Biden did take up the charge. Opal Lee dreams of opening a Juneteenth museum in 2024 and seeing celebrations last from June 19th through July 4th. And I think that's something there. That's something right there. And that's very important for us to remember as to how this thing actually came into being. It wasn't just out of President Biden's good heart. He decided to make Juneteenth a holiday. No, we had to put a little pressure on him. And we want to thank Miss Opal Lee for doing so. And but back to while we're doing this broadcast, we got some vultures out there. We got some folks out there who seek to profit off of our pain. And on up to the weeks leading up to Juneteenth weekend, I'm pretty sure on the internet, many of you saw pictures like this. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have for you some Juneteenth ice cream. We have the napkins, paper plates. We have banners. We have all kinds of goodies here that were featured online by those who saw this and exposed Walmart for trying to sell products and merchandise like this. And Walmart's not alone. We also had Dollar Tree, who had a Facebook post which read, "Hosting a Juneteenth event this year? Check out our new Juneteenth party supplies, tableware, and more for a celebration to remember." This right here was dated May 23rd, 2022. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we saw things like this, we took notice. Oh, yes, indeed. We had to take notice. And an article I found here from CNN basically summed it up. People were offended. Tone-deaf corporations facing backlash for Juneteenth-themed products by Nicole Terry Ellis. In the article, it reads, Charlisa Starks Richardson was disappointed when she learned that the beloved Children's Museum in her community was selling a watermelon salad in celebration of Juneteenth. Starks Richardson, who often took her daughter to the Indianapolis Children's Museum growing up, says she expected the museum would be more focused on educating the public about Juneteenth, which celebrates the emancipation of enslaved Black Americans. Instead of serving them foods, to make matters worse, she said, watermelon has historically been used as a racist trope against Black Americans. People were very offended by it, says Starks Richardson, an educator in Indianapolis area. Everybody is trying to capitalize off Juneteenth to make money. But we don't need the food. We want education. I want people to understand the purpose of Juneteenth. The Indianapolis Children's Museum has since apologized and removed the salad from its food court. In a statement, the museum said it routinely relies on a food vendor to create thematic menu items and that the inappropriate name and label on the salad was not reviewed by museum staff. Other organizations and major retailers are also receiving a backlash for their attempts to monetize Juneteenth with new products since President Joe Biden signed a bill declaring it a national holiday last year. From the Indianapolis Children's Museum's watermelon salad to Walmart's swirled red velvet and cheesecake flavored ice cream to Dollar Tree's Pan-African themed plates and napkins, inclusion experts say corporations are missing the mark with Juneteenth. By failing to provide a historical context with these items, the companies don't appear to have considered how they could promote stereotypes or offend black people, experts say. Some social justice activists also insist the efforts are more performative than genuine, as they don't address the systematic inequalities that demonstrators marched for in 2020 after the death of George Floyd. Among the issues were police violence against black people, voting rights, and reparations. Amira Anya, a public policy expert for the Movement for Black Lives, said the Juneteenth product lines are tone deaf and devoid of any real impact. Anya said companies should be using the Juneteenth holiday to re-examine their hiring and promotion practices to ensure they are being more inclusive of black applicants and employees. What people are demanding is a new ice cream flavor or a new salad What people are demanding is not a new ice cream flavor or a new salad or any other symbolic gesture that really is just about generating profit from a commercialized holiday, Nya said. But what black folks have demanded are structural and systemic changes to the systems in this country that have been harmful and oppressive. Some experts say the Juneteenth-themed foods and products show corporations are suddenly trying to commercialize a holiday that black Americans have celebrated since June 19, 1865, when Union Major General Gordon Granger announced the end of slavery in Galveston, Texas, in accordance with President Abraham Lincoln's 1863 Emancipation Proclamation. Across the U.S., black families who honor the holiday traditionally host cookouts, music festivals, prayer services, and rodeo events. Some also indulge in red food and drink, which represents the bloodshed during the enslavement. Stephanie Leonard, an assistant professor of management at Howard University who specializes in workplace diversity, equity, and inclusion, said corporations should not be profiting off the culture of marginalized groups, especially when they don't have a track record of supporting and being inclusive of those communities. Corporations, she said, can be more thoughtful in how they honor Juneteenth by doing more research and appointing a black-led committee that is invested in educating the public about the holiday. She called it tokenism, when companies rely solely on one or two black employees to decide how Juneteenth should be marked. Last month, Walmart was blasted on social media when shoppers discovered the retail chain was selling Celebration Edition Juneteenth ice cream under its Great Value label. Share and celebrate African American culture, emancipation, and enduring hope. The label on the swirled red velvet and cheesecake flavored ice cream read. The ice cream tub was designed with Pan-African colors and black and brown hands. One critic accused Walmart of capitalizing off of black culture and said the retailer can better honor Juneteenth by promoting products by black-owned brands. I agree. Walmart later apologized for the ice cream and removed it from its shelves. Dollar Tree also faced criticism on social media when it shared a post about a Juneteenth product line that included plates, cups, and napkins in Pan-African colors with the words "Celebrate Freedom." Lauren Tucker, an inclusive leadership consultant, said major corporations are not giving Juneteenth the thought, research, and care it deserves. Tucker compared the products to companies simply checking a box that says they recognize the holiday. And again, as we saw the mindless efforts that these companies put forth, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. Trademarking the name Juneteenth, it's not illegal. And upon my research, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the show, a lot of people have done it. A lot of people have applied and obtained live trademarks to be able to sell their products and merchandise for profit in the wake of this holiday. And as I stated in the last report also, there's an issue with the red, the black, and the green. This is a discussion I've heard on other podcasts concerning this in the celebration of Juneteenth, and that the red, black, and green flag that we often associate with our culture stands for Pan-Africanism. It is not about Juneteenth. It has nothing to do with it. In fact, the Juneteenth flag itself was created back in 1997, and I'm going to share a little something with everyone about that. Came across this information here. The Pan-African flag, we saw it all weekend long, and again, it was just out of place. It had nothing to do with any of the celebratory events, festivals, or activities surrounding Juneteenth. None at all. But when it comes to the flag itself of Juneteenth, a fellow by the name of Ben Haith created the Juneteenth flag in 1997. Haith, who was a community organizer, said in an interview that once he learned about Juneteenth himself, he passionately felt that it needed representation. It needed a symbol. Now, he would raise his initial concept that he created every Juneteenth holiday near his son's school in Roxbury, which is a majority black community in Boston. But after getting his inspirations for the flag, where he got the colors together that he wanted, the symbol that he wanted, he met with an illustrator by the name of Lisa Jean Graff and finalized the flag in 2000. Just a moment. Now, the colors, the official colors for the Juneteenth flag are red, white, and blue. This is what he decided on. And he decided on it because it's the same as the American flag. And it was meant to be a reminder to black Americans that we were just that, Americans. And we are. We are the citizens of this country. Now, when it came to the star in the middle, he said it has a dual meaning, both to represent Texas as the Lone Star State and the last state to free our ancestors, but also to the freedom of enslaved citizens. He also spoke to the use of stars in helping the slaves escape to freedom during those times. And again, with exposing those who seek to profit off of Juneteenth, I did want to also share individuals and smaller companies that too filed for trademarks. Some were successful in it, some were not, but they all did. And I want to share the first company or first person that I have here. When I researched Juneteenth at the on a trademark search engine, we came up here with an applicant by the name of Sonia. She lives in Florida, and she applied May 24th, 2022. It's a live trademark, and she sought to trademark Juneteenth on paper banners, coffee mugs, water bottles, sold empty, cloth flags, baseball caps, and graphic T-shirts. Another example, and this is a dead trademark application, however, but it was abandoned. This was by a Belcom Corporation in Maryland by attorney Kylie Jones. With this trademark application, they sought to trademark flavor enhancers used in food and beverages, pastries, and frozen confections for retail and wholesale distribution and consumption. That was September 2nd, 2021. Next example, here is from a Tanya Whitaker in Aurora. Her trademark application is live, and with her, she sought to trademark Juneteenth on sweatshirts and T-shirts. Her application was put in June 3rd, 2022. Another example was done by Lachey Johnson of Georgia, where she has a live trademark filed May 27th, 2022. And with that, she seeks to trademark Juneteenth on shirts, pants, jackets, footwear, jumper coveralls, overall sleepwear, children's and infants' apparel treated with fire and heat retardants, namely jumper overalls, gloves for apparel, viscous gel polymers sold as a component or finished custom cushion footwear for non-orthopedic purposes. Retail clothing stores, retail jewelry stores, retail variety stores, and retail apparel stores is where she sought to sell these items. Also, customized imprinting of company names and logos on the goods of others, namely on promotional merchandise, apparel, and corporate gifts, imprinting messages on wearing apparel and mugs. Also, custom design of Juneteenth based on personal selections made by the customer. Also, we have here, it's a live trademark where the hashtag Juneteenth was sought by Kingdom Builders Financial Group in care of Harold Stephen. This particular company sought to hashtag the Juneteenth with the watermark. And in the translations, it states that the non-Latin characters in the mark transliterate to hashtag, and this has no meaning in a foreign language. The non-Latin characters in the mark transliterate to hashtag, and this meaning hashtag in English. Hey, Dre, yeah, that hashtag once ticked me off too. I heard that, Monica, one of our viewers chimed in with Mocha Enterprises. What's up, partner? And here we have providing advertising. This is what they sought to do: provide advertising, marketing, and promotional services, namely development of advertising campaigns for Juneteenth. So, as we see, quite a few folks out there was trying to get the bag when it comes down to profiting off of this holiday. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we have to do more to protect this holiday. We have to be diligent. I know last year when Biden first signed into law making Juneteenth an official national holiday, one of the main themes, and I totally embraced it, was the idea of buying black. The idea of patronizing black businesses all Juneteenth to help boost their profits, to help circulate the dollar in our community, to practice more group economics. That theme I did not hear much of this year. However, it was good to see so many folks share in the celebratory events all across the nation with Black America in commemorating the end of chattel slavery here. But again, we must do more to protect our legacy. The red, the black, and the green, the flag of the Pan-Africanist. While, yes, this is a part of our culture, and yes, for those of us who are in the Pan-African movement, we embrace this flag. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this has nothing to do with Juneteenth. It has nothing to do with Freedom Day. And as Monica states, it's the powers that be. They don't want us to be great. Give me just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. I do have a phone call here. The phone call went away. But as Monica states, it's the powers that be that don't want us to be great with those video interruptions talking about Juneteenth. Absolutely, Monica. I agree with you 100%. Give me just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, and try to reach my caller back on the line if she's available. It doesn't look like it. Hit me back, Monica. Hit me back. But ladies and gentlemen, again, I know I saw footage myself. I don't remember the town it was, but I did see quite a few people at a Juneteenth celebration, and they were passing out the red, black, and green flags to those in attendance. I did see the official Juneteenth flag floating around, but I believe it's up to us as a people to communicate to everyone else what's appropriate and what's not, what is Juneteenth and what's not, because this is a new holiday. And unless you live down south, I know I'm from Chicago. Living up north, we never even knew about Juneteenth until a few years ago. And so, again, this is new for the entire nation, and especially for Black Americans, as we reflect in remembrance on our legacy, and as we embrace the culture of what we have established in America. It's very important that we, again, protect our legacy and make sure that the celebratory events, the way it's done, is done right. And caller, I can't seem to be able to get you on the line. I'm not sure why, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any comments, anyone would like to make a phone call into the show to express your concerns, your ideas about Juneteenth. Do you feel it's being exploited? Do you think it's right that individuals apply for and receive trademarks in order to sell merchandise themselves in honor of Juneteenth? All of these questions are up in the air. Some may agree, some may not agree. But we do have to keep in mind, again, this is new. We are doing this as we go. You understand? We are establishing what this holiday means and to us as a people, and in return, what it will mean to the country upon our guidance. Caller, you're going to have to call in on the regular line, 708-414-0849. Skype, for some reason, doesn't want to come through. But she says, I'm calling in. Just come on in, Monica. Just call regular. Yeah, she's trying to hit it. Hold on, let me try it again. Yes, Monica, you have to call in regular, partner. Call in on your regular phone. Don't call in through during Skype. It won't work. It's not coming through. It's not coming through. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I know yesterday in Aurora, Illinois, we had a Juneteenth flag raising ceremony. Monica, you're gonna have to call in on the regular phone. Don't call in using Skype. I know you're trying to. There we go, partner. There we go. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Okay. Monica.
And how you doing, Monica? You kept trying to call Skype, but that's all I know.
I'm calling the number that's going across the screen right now.
I feel you. I feel you. But how you doing today? And what are your thoughts about some of the exploitation when it comes down to Juneteenth? You're in Texas, so what do you know about all of this that's going down, partner?
Well, obviously, like that one you mentioned about the hashtag Juneteenth. I mean, we've been hashtag Juneteenth forever.
Yeah.
And it's people are taking advantage of it, I think, to make money off of it now because since it's become a federal holiday,
Yeah.
especially since it's become a federal holiday.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you said, like it's new to people too at the
Yes.
same time. But I just don't put up with the, um, I guess the things that some of the races are coming out to call the same. And
Okay.
some black people do though. They're like, well, what we have to do this for? It makes no sense.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that lets me know we need to educate the people. And I did want to, did a show today, even though the technology was messing up on it.
Yeah.
I did the show today, but the purpose was educate the city.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
because of the comments that people were making, I mean, it's just ridiculous. They want us to stay silent. They're like, look, you guys are not enslaved anymore. So
Yeah.
now we have to even So
Absolutely.
they don't understand the significance of it. And the fight is, this is what the whole CRT and all that is about too, to
Yeah.
include Juneteenth, include true history into the curriculum when it comes to educating our youth especially. But it does start at home too. So we have to take that responsibility and just educate our kids. But at the same time, it kind of does no good when the rest of the community doesn't know,
True.
because they'll continue to do this. I brought up the whole point about reparative justice and how we're still speaking that.
Yes.
So people are not understanding it. You have other black people even who think that we're crazy for even speaking further reparative justice. It makes no sense. So we need education. Just like
Absolutely.
when it comes to voting, we need to start educating our people.
Again, yes, yes, yes. 100% agree, Monica. I 100% agree. Yeah, education is key. We have to, as a people, we do have to become more educated about our own history in order to be able to educate others.
Right.
School curriculums do need to open up and provide real history about what went down in this country concerning African Americans. Absolutely. And like one of our commenters said, Casildo, what's going on, brother? He says, thank you for the education. It's important for us allies to be educated. And that too, Monica, I agree. Our brothers and sisters, from other cultures, they may not know much about our history or even why we're celebrating this and or even how to celebrate it. So again, it is definitely the responsibility of every black American, whether they understand it or not, to show the others how the proper way in which this event is to be honored and remembered. So, but yes, absolutely, Monica. I thank you for your call. Greatly appreciate it, and you enjoy the rest of the show.
You too.
All right, ma'am.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. And so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You know, as Casildo, before we get out of here, my brother Casildo had pointed out in the comments section, fun fact about Mexico and its abolishment of slavery before the U.S. did it. And this is true. The Underground Railroad also ran south, not back towards slave owning states, but away from them to Mexico, which began to restrict slavery in the 1820s and finally abolished it in 1829, some 34 years before Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. And that is true, too true. Appreciate that, Casildo, for laying that on us. Greatly needed. So, yeah, education. I know the fight against CRT, which is not truly CRT in our public school systems that folks are calling themselves fighting, but actually true education of U.S. history. We all know that the events in history, as told in public school systems, is one-sided. It is not from the narrative of the formerly enslaved, not from those of us who are the descendants of the freedmen. This is unfortunate, and this has to change. And again, as the caller Monica expressed, it begins at home. Those of us at home, we have a computer in our pockets with these phones. We have an encyclopedia, a whole library with these phones. And we should become much more educated about the events that led up to the Emancipation Proclamation and all of the events that happened afterwards that would help to explain why black Americans are in the social position, socioeconomic position that we're in today. Juneteenth is an acknowledgement of the oppression that this country has historically put my people through. And as Monica Tucker writes, true, the problem we have in El Paso, right across from Mexico, is that many Mexican Americans don't know that there is a community of Afro-Mexicans in Mexico. There you have it, education. And more of that will be to come in future episodes of The Reset. I want to thank everyone for joining us this Monday evening. Hope your weekends have been wonderful, and I hope the rest of your week is just as nice. With that being said, take care, much love, and good night. Oh, wait a minute. Before we get up out of there, I do want to leave with one final word. Article I saw from the Know Your Rights camp talking about Freedom Day, Juneteenth, and it states that as we celebrate Juneteenth this year, let us recognize that the freedom struggle is not over and that the symbolism of Juneteenth should not be a substitute for an ongoing call to action. When slavery was outlawed in 1865, full liberation required more than the legal abolition of enslavement. Today, realizing the promise of Juneteenth requires continued work in the areas of prison abolition, fair housing, the living wage, wealth, and health inequalities and beyond. Much has to be accomplished, yet there is still much work left to do. As we celebrate Juneteenth by looking to the past, let us continue to commit ourselves to a better and more free tomorrow.